Sure. Hare Krishna, my name is Yavat Das. I'm a disciple of His Holiness Parthasarathi Das Goswami. I am from Pretoria, actually, South Africa. I joined there in a time when our temple was booming with brahmacharis. It was an amazing time. Actually, one of our devotees, Yavat Prabhu, will be getting sannyas soon. He just joined, and we were going out on Harinama every day. And I remember I had this bad breakup in school. Really messed me up, and I needed an answer to my troubles. And the devotees gave me a copy of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. And yeah, within a few weeks, I thought they were a little crazy jumping around, but I was joining them. Wow. It was completely ecstatic.
Yeah. How old were you then?
I was 16 years old, just turned 16.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's 20 years ago. Yeah.
So young. I mean, did you come with your parents or you came on your own?
I came on my own. My brother and I, we were both, we had different struggles in our life at that time. He's 2 years older to me. And we decided, let's check out the Hare Krishna temple, because we couldn't find answers anywhere, and we'd become a little agnostic from our Hindu practices. So for like 3 years, we weren't doing anything. So we went there and were really impressed with the philosophy at first, a bit apprehensive about the dancing and the ecstatic kirtans that were happening there. But we were hooked. It was just almost infectious. Within a few weeks, it was something else. Just dancing and chanting with the devotees. It was our life, actually.
Amazing. What was like the breaking point that made you go, okay, I'm going to step into the kirtan?
I think, I'd just be at the back of the temple in corduroys and two-stepping, me and my friend, my best friend and my brother. And it was actually my brother first. They just pulled him into the circle. There's many bhaktas and brahmacharis in the temple, and they pulled him. Everyone was so ecstatic. And I was still apprehensive, but one day they just pulled me in, and I just fed off their energy. They just loved chanting and dancing. It was so simple. I know it sounds cliched, but sublime. It was just incredible. It was a different feeling, something I'd never felt before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your service you do now?
My service. Well, right now I'm trying to help wherever I can with Harinams. I serve as a distribution manager for the BBT here in South Africa and Africa, actually. So we distribute books to prisons, old age homes, orphanages, etc. On a mass scale, and then universities as well. And a big push, His Holiness Jai Advaita Maharaj has asked us to really focus on university preaching. So now we've kind of branched off into supporting the BYS students. So I'm actually involved with the BYSs now a little bit, trying to coach and guide and assist whoever they need support. And I just feed off the energy, because young people are so full of enthusiasm for Krishna consciousness, for life in general.
So what is the BYS, those who are not from South Africa?
Sorry. So BYS is the Bhakti Yoga Society. It's the university program that's run at various tertiary institutions, University of Pretoria, we have University of Johannesburg, there's a few centers. So what we do there is, we do a combination of physical yoga, so it's Hatha Yoga, lots of kirtan and lots of prasadam. And sometimes we do seminars on controlling the mind, stress management, etc. Actually, just a side note, in 2007, His Holiness Kanamakananda Maharaj came to one of our Bhakti Yoga Society programs, and he was meant to give a talk. So he entered the lecture hall, and they put the harmonium on a lecture desk. And he refused. He said, "No, I won't sit down, I'll stand up like a professor." So he stood up, and he was about to speak, but he saw this harmonium, and he said, "No, let's chant." He opened the harmonium, and he led a kirtan for about an hour. And the lecturers who'd come there for philosophy, they were waiting for him to speak, but he sang the whole time. And so after the kirtan, they were blown away by him, actually. There were lecturers peering into the door, professors peering into the door to see, who is this European or this white man, like chanting so ecstatically, standing on this harmonium. And so during prasadam, he socialized with them, and he told them about Krishna consciousness. But he told them actually what he was doing for that hour. That's the essence of Krishna consciousness, this chanting. And that was really amazing. It was one of the highlights of our program in those years.
Wow. Yeah. And how long has this Bhakti Yoga Society been in the universities in South Africa?
So it was originally initiated in the early 80s by a devotee by the name of Sri Hari. He's still in our yatra. So he joined ISKCON in the late 70s, and he initiated the university program. So they'd go speak some philosophy, do some kirtan and some prasadam. And then continued through the 80s up here in Johannesburg and in Durban. And Cape Town, definitely there's a big presence of the Bhakti Yoga Society in Cape Town. And then it got really strong, let's say, in 1994 when the Pretoria temple was opened. There was a group of young brahmacharis that came and opened the temple, very fired up. and the university is 1 kilometer away from the temple. So they were frequently there, bringing students over to the temple. They'd stay the weekends, and that's how I actually got more involved, because they'd ask us to come stay weekends, and just being around them, going on Harinam after breakfast, coming back, talking about Sankirtan experiences, then going on books in the afternoon, coming back, Gaura Aarti, and then you're so tired. This is the best life, actually.
Wow. So you're telling me that the university, these clubs, the Bhakti Yoga Society has been in the university for like 40 plus years.
Yeah, it's a long time in South Africa, actually. You know, it's really the cornerstone of the future of the Krishna consciousness movement, specifically in South Africa, because the young academic class, they're educated. And if we tell them a little bit about our philosophy, they don't see us as just sentimental people who jump and chant and dance, although that is the essence of our philosophy. But there's so much behind that. There's so much substance. And when we introduce the philosophy to them, they see the great depth of the Vedic literature and of the Bhakti Yoga process. So, yeah, it's been around a long time, and it's very important for this country, and that's why a great focus is going there now.
So if you were to give a guess, how many devotees have joined through the university preaching?
Wow.
Would you say over 200 or more?
Definitely, I'd say definitely over 100, and that I'm aware of. Since I had been going to university in 2006, I'd say definitely at least 50 or 60 devotees have been initiated through the university programs.
Wow.
And they're not just, not that there's high and low devotees, but they're really first-class devotees. Very wonderfully fixed in Krishna consciousness, sharing the glories of the holy name and the bliss of Krishna consciousness.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I guess your other service is Harinam.
Yeah.
How did you get into Harinam?
Well, it was devotees like Sabyasachi Prabhu. There was a devotee, a brahmachari by the name of Gaura Prabhu, who stayed in Pretoria Temple. He was like my mentor, and he took me under his wing, and he was full of ecstasy, like bliss. He was full of so much of happiness in chanting and dancing. And just by being close to him and always being around him, I just became infected with the same enthusiasm. I always just wanted to dance, until my shins were completely busted. And then slowly over the years, Bhima Prabhu was also one of my mentors. He's like a stalwart kirtaniya in Pretoria, playing accordion and leading amazing kirtans. He told me, I'm getting older, someone has to play accordion. And I said, I'm a tiny guy, I can't do this. And he said, someone has to do it, and we have to do the needful. So I picked up an accordion in around 2010-11, late 2010, and he taught me a few things, and I've been engaged in the service ever since, because the instrument lends itself to Ananda. It's a blissful instrument. It injects energy into Harinam, into Kirtan. So that's my service at the moment. I try to serve devotees in Harinam by playing the accordion and not forgetting to chant and dance at the same time. So it's a bit difficult because it's roughly about 10 kilos, so it adds a bit of weight. But once you get into a rhythm, it's ecstatic. Yeah.
And what does Harinam mean to you personally?
Well, I love this amazing example that Aindra Prabhu mentioned, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He said that when Lord Brahma was meditating alone and the universe was not populated, he heard these words, tapa. So then he went into deep meditation to find the source of these words. But still, he only heard a voice. He didn't actually find any person. And so when the earth was a few decades later, or eons later actually, when the earth was terrorized by kings, they all went to Lord Brahma and said, please go to Vishnu, we need him to save us. And he thought, I could go alone again and meditate on the Lord, but the last time I did that alone, he didn't show up. I just heard vibrations. So he said to all 33 million gods, he said, come with me and let's call together. So they made a big Sankirtan effort. Together they went to the shore of Soita Dweep and they called on the Lord's name. And by that Sankirtan effort, the Lord appeared in front of them. So I love that example because it shows that Sankirtan is a group effort, it's a team effort. Everyone should be chanting or screaming really at the top of their lungs the names of Krishna. And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing. His followers, Advaita Acharya, one of his principal followers, he was 52 years older than Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu would have him lead kirtans for 5-6 hours, no microphones. Incredible, chanting and dancing, and they would all be in bliss. So when I think about those pastimes, I think how fortunate we are to be doing this Harinam Sankirtan. And I feel blessed to be in the association of devotees who are doing this. So I try to feed off the energy of the devotees. If a kirtan is kind of like really it's staggered, and we're doing a lot of two steps, and it's hard for me because I'm playing an accordion and I want to dance. So I try to feed off devotees who are really enthusiastic and high energy, and then I feed off that energy and try to bring it into my service. So it's a team effort. You help each other and you chant together, and so the name becomes one name, really a unified name, calling the names of God, calling the names of Krishna. And it's really a beautiful thing when you're hearing it together, when you're joining that chorus together. It's incredible.
Wow. And how do you feel that Harinam contributes to your spiritual progress?
Well, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted us to go out and give the holy name to others. I've got my bag here and I'm chanting on my beads, but if we're just chanting on our beads, it benefits us, individually. But when we're chanting and sharing the holy names with others, by sharing the holy names with others, it gives us more faith in chanting the name. That's what I found. So it feeds my personal sadhana of chanting in my bead bag. So really doing Harinama Sankirtan on the streets is a sadhana, because it feeds our enthusiasm for relishing the taste of Harinam. Yeah.
Yeah, and you never felt like scared or embarrassed of being out there in public chanting?
One time I was in my hometown where I had grown up. It was difficult because many people knew my family, and we were born in so-called caste Brahminical family, so people looked down on you for doing the Hare Krishna thing. But I still went there, we did books and we did Harinam. It was a little embarrassing. But I pushed through. I kept thinking of Srila Prabhupada because he went back home many times to his hometown and he fiercely preached Krishna consciousness. So I thought, why should I be ashamed? Prabhupada is protecting me. One time, the only time I was afraid in Harinam was one time we were in Sunnyside. It's a little bit of a shady area.
It's not so sunny.
It's not so sunny. And we were attacked by some guys on the street. But luckily we were with Bhima Prabhu, who's a bit of a Kshatriya. So we got our kartals out and we were defending ourselves. And we ran. But I always feel fearless chanting the name of Krishna, because it's explained that even fear person apana samshatim goram yan nama vivasognan tato sadhya vimuccheta yad bibeti svayam vayam. The first canto of Bhagavatam says that fear personified is afraid of the holy name of Krishna. Yad bibeti svayam vayam. It's even afraid of the name of Krishna. So when we're taking the name of Krishna on our tongue, when we're vibrating it, there is no fear. Yeah.
And is there any Harinam stories or events that you could share with us?
Yeah,
that
well,
really inspired?
Yeah, there's so many. I think one that comes to mind is we were at the Gautrain station in Santon, where we've been many years. And in 2019, just before COVID locked us down for a little while, we were there one winter night. Not many of us, it was maybe 4 or 5 of us. And we were chanting, and this group of, it was almost like a flash mob. This group of dancers came along, and they started dancing to the beat of the mridanga in sync. It was really amazing. And by their dancing, so beautifully dancing, they attracted a huge group of people around. And it became, and I felt at that moment that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had seen that we were feeling cold, it was a tough day, and he sent these souls to come and hear the holy name to encourage us to continue chanting. And that's how kind this movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, that you never feel like you're alone. And that's the beauty of Sankirtan, because you're never alone. So the holy name, like that, we remain connected by chanting the holy name, and when we're doing it together, we really are connected. And I felt that mercy and that special sense. But there's been other instances. Sometimes we've been out in Hatfield when we used to go. Actually, when I was on campus, we'd go just for the mridanga up and down every day in the campus and just outside. And people definitely thought I was weird, but I remember one boy coming and tapping me on the shoulder. He had dreadlocks, and he said, "Why are you doing this?" And it was very deeply thoughtful. He was not critical. And I said, "I'm trying to control my mind, because if I sit in one spot, I'm going to be thinking about girls that are walking past me. I'm going to be thinking about my modules. I'm doing this to help myself. And if you walk along with me, you'll be helping me." And he generally had some compassion in his eyes. So he used to come with me every day. And then he attended a seminar we did called The Psyche of the Human Mind, which was presenting how to control the mind using mantra techniques that Prabhupada had taught us. And then he joined the temple shortly thereafter, and he got initiated. His name was Kakisa before he became Kulashekar. He was a brahmachari for some time. Yeah, he was a brahmachari for some time in Pretoria.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a wonderful devotee. So it's stories like this. Just by going out and chanting the name, you never know who Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will send. because there's so many of his soldiers who are loitering around in Kali Yuga. I was one of them, at 16 years old. I'd like to think I was a small soldier, but I was one of them. But there's so many, and we have to go and remind our friends, remind our family that chanting Hare Krishna, that's where the real bliss is. That's where real happiness is in life. So I'm grateful to have been part of certain scenarios and experiences where we get to share the name and where I received the holy name also. Yeah.
So how do you feel that this Harinam service allows you to be closer to God?
Oh, wow. Well, I can definitely say there's so many parts to Krishna consciousness. There's chanting your japa, as we call it in the morning, your rounds, meditating on the beads. There's taking prasadam. There's giving a class and listening to a class. There's reading. But doing Harinama Sankirtan, it's the only guaranteed experience to get your hair standing on end. It really, somehow it's because the name is being spread throughout the creation. I mean, the demigods are descending, these saintly beings are coming to watch this performance of Sankirtan, glorification of the Lord. Somehow you feel the presence of highly elevated souls all around you, and you feel the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And by his presence, simply by his presence, one can feel love of Godhead, or love for Krishna is not far away. So just by chanting the names incessantly, I don't know, I can't describe it, it's a feeling. You have to go on Harinam to get this feeling. It's just, there's moments in the Harinam where you just feel ecstatic. You just explode off your feet. And the evidence of it is when I'm playing an accordion sometimes, I really should not be jumping because it's bad for your vertebrae, it's bad for your legs. But you can't help it. It's just, there's some energy that surges through the body. And that's only exclusively there in the Sankirtan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's nowhere else, actually. So I don't know how to describe it, but I felt this many times. Actually, I felt it with your Guru Maharaj, Kadambakanda Maharaj, many times. I'd have so much of pain, like I've got scars on this hand here. You probably can't see in the camera, many scars. Most of them are from playing for him, because he would push us to this level where he would chant with this intensity that you felt like you were in the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You felt like Mahaprabhu was present, Mahaprabhu was dancing. It was so intense. And sometimes physically you couldn't keep up, but if you pushed, if you just prayed on it and you, with determination, you said, Krishna, please help me. And you push through that pain, there's some bliss at the end of that. And it would just sustain. And there's moments, you'd see videos of him chanting, and we're all nearby, and we're just all in ecstasy. It's just like emanating from him. This intensity, this intense ecstasy. It's just something that can't be described and needs to be felt. So we can't stop doing Harinam. We have to continuously do it if we want to feel enthusiastic in our practice of Krishna consciousness. If we want to feel labored and uninspired, then we can stay at home and read our books, and that's okay. Like, that's okay if that's all you can do. But if you're able-bodied and you can play an instrument, if you have the ability to vibrate sound on your tongue, come out and do Harinam, because you will feel something that you can't feel anywhere else. Not in the temple kirtan even, actually. So, yeah.
Awesome. Do you want to add anything else?
I'm grateful for everything that's been given to us by Srila Prabhupada is here next to us, and by wonderful devotees like Kadambakanda Maharaj, who gave us a taste for a type of kirtan that was beyond just, daily discipline. It was something that was a calling to Krishna, an intense yearning. Krishna, please appear here. Let these devotees feel the ecstasy of Gaur Leela. Let them feel the ecstasy of the pastimes of Chaitanya Charitamrita. I felt that like come alive. I wasn't a person who was into Chaitanya Charitamrita much. I was, kind of an academic into like Ramayana and Bhagavatam, like very upright, straight, Sanatan Dharma type. And just being together with Kadambakanda Maharaj and those he had heavily influenced, it invoked something in me where I understood that the essence of the Krishna consciousness movement is the loud, loud vibrating of this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And if you do it really loudly and really enthusiastically, oh wow, it really feeds your own spiritual dog, Srila Prabhupada. It feeds your spiritual energy. and you can't stop actually. Once it's like a avalanche. It's like it gains momentum more and more. The more you do it, the more enthusiastic you get. And we have to always remember to do it together, because otherwise we can think, look at me, I'm chanting amazing kirtan. But when we do it together, it really gives the most wonderful experience. So I'm grateful. I'm just grateful to be here with wonderful, wonderful devotees of Krishna chanting this name. And I pray that until my last breath, I can be jumping and dancing around and chanting this name. So please bless me.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.